everybody, and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I am very excited to be doing my November wrap-up because I feel like I've just read so many good books. They're all kind of from the same author again. Really reminded me of my June wrap-up where I literally read like nothing but Cassandra Clare. Kind of the same thing, but this month it's with Leigh Bardugo. So we're just gonna get into it. I really hope you enjoy the video. So I'm actually gonna start out with the one book that's not from Leigh Bardugo, but I also really enjoyed this one, and that is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is the third book in the Cassidy Blake series, and it is absolutely so good. I think I gave this book 4 stars. This one takes place in New Orleans, which I really love the setting of this. The whole setup of these books is just so interesting because it mixes like this girl who's helping these ghosts move on, teamed up with like her ghost best friend, but it also has like little bits of history from like haunted places in whatever city they happen to be in during that book, and I just love it. I feel like I'm actually kind of learning some things. Like not much, but like just a little, and it's kind of fun. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is the last book in this series or not. I think it might be. I don't know. I feel like you could really do a lot with this series, so I hope it's not. They're just like a solid 4 stars. It's not like blowing your mind good, but it's still like really enjoyable, and even though it's middle grade, I love it so much. It was so good. And this is where I start with all of the Leigh Bardugo books that I read this month. It was 5, I think. Yeah, I have 4 here, but I read 5 because I don't have a copy of one of them yet. I just like randomly started reading Shadow and Bone on, I just like borrowed the ebook from my library one day because I saw an interview of Ben Barnes reading, I don't know, I think thirst tweets, and from that, for some reason, I was like, I want to watch Shadow and Bone now. And so, you know, obviously, I have to read the books first. I love reading the books before I watch any adaptation. I just feel like it's better that way. But, you know, y'all have your preferences, but that's how I prefer to do it. And I'm so glad I did because I did not think I was going to enjoy, like, Shadow and Bone as a whole, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the reason I loved them so much was because my expectations were so low. Honestly, I feel like every time I hear anybody talk about Shadow and Bone, they're always like, meh, it's like, okay. But I think it was really good. I thought the world building was really easy to fall into. The characters, some of them were lackluster. But I feel like the Darkling was a really complex and interesting character. And I also really love Nikolai, so obviously, I mean, I think everybody does, but I just love the addition of him. I feel like he made the books a lot funnier and more interesting personally. Just like my thoughts overall. Loved it. I thought it wrapped up really well, so now we'll go into the books individually. First we have, obviously, Shadow and Bone, and this is the gorgeous collector's edition. I had to do it. I just had to do it. It's so pretty. But I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It really surprised me with how much I loved it. It was really fast-paced. I feel like there was a lot going on at all times, and I didn't really get bored during this book specifically. It was just a really good introduction to the Grishaverse, I feel, because I knew I was gonna read the Six of Crows Duology at some point, but I'm really glad that I started with this one. So the second book is obviously Siege and Storm. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I did find this one to be the slowest. You know, this did introduce my personal favorite character in this series, so it's tough. It wasn't enough to save this book though. I don't even remember what happened in this book, to be honest. I just feel like not a lot happened, and that's the problem. I don't know. I feel like I don't even remember enough to talk much about this book. I know they spent a lot of it on a ship. They tried to kill the Darkling again, and it didn't work. Oh, shocker. I love doing wrap-ups. I'm so good at them. Oh my god, I literally have a copy of Ruin and Rising in my car. Oh, I borrowed it from the library and I could have used it to show you guys. Should I go get it? Is it worth it? Nah. I'll just put up a picture. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. Again, I feel like it was just very action-packed. I love the way this series ended so much. Like that last chapter. Oh, I was like, oh my god, this is too much for me right now. I'm gonna start crying over these characters that I don't even care about. But here's the problem when I read like series in such a short succession. Like I think I read the entirety of this series in a span of 2 weeks or something, so I don't exactly remember where the events of like each book stop and start. I did the same thing with the Mortal Instruments. Like I can't tell you a damn thing that happens in like any one of those books specifically, but I can tell you like the overarching plot. So yeah, that's a problem in my life. Trying to work on it really, but I just really enjoyed this book a lot. I don't know, it was really interesting. I felt like we got a lot of character background, which I was really hoping for in the first two books, but I feel like there was a lack of it. I feel like she really delivered in this book, and I just thought it was such a good concluding book to the series, in my opinion. I would probably consider Shadow and Bone to be one of my new favorite series, along with the next series that I'm about to talk about. Leigh Bardugo's writing and world building is just so fantastic. Like, even though the characters in Shadow and Bone were like a little, they're not as good as some of her other characters, but I think the plot and just the way she tells the story really makes up for it. So those are my thoughts on Shadow and Bone. I do have a reading vlog for Ruin and Rising if you're interested, but I do talk about the series as a whole in that one as well if you want more vague thoughts from Katie. So the last two books that I'm going to talk about, I have been wanting to read these for the longest time, and I'm so glad I finally did because they were just everything. Absolutely everything. I'm sure you can guess what they are because I think I posted my reading vlog for these last week. It's the Six of Crows Duology. I knew I was gonna love these. I just knew I was gonna love these, and I absolutely did. So I gave Six of Crows a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I firmly believe that if I were to reread Six of Crows, I would give it a 5 stars. I feel like Six of Crows delivers on the plot more, but Crooked Kingdom delivers on like character work more. So yeah, honestly the plot's kind of hard to follow sometimes. Half the time they're doing things I'm like, oh, when did we talk about this? I still really enjoyed it. It was super fast paced. I felt like the first couple chapters were a little bit slower, but once they finally like got the crew together, started going on the heist, I really could not stop reading this book. It was so good. I finally get the hype, and I love that I finally get the hype. Six of Crows is probably the best YA series I've ever read. I feel like this just delivers on plot, character work, these subtle little romances throughout it. It was just so good. I'm gonna start crying or something. I don't know, man. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on to talking about Crooked Kingdom, I guess. This book really delivered in the character backstories that I was really hoping that we would get sometime throughout the series. I felt like almost all of the characters got like the time that they deserved to talk about how they got to where they were, why they are the way they are, and I just thought that was really, really interesting. The ending of this book did get me. Here's the problem though, I was just Googling something and I completely spoiled myself for the big thing that happens around, oh, you know, chapter 40 in this book. So I knew it was coming, but I was still like, I was like shook to the core. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. It was just too much for me. This book was honestly so good. I love the ending of it. The last couple chapters where we were seeing where everybody was ending up. The closure I needed, honestly. And it was just, overall the series is just so, it's so amazing. I don't know, I'm gonna make this my personality probably for like the next 3 months like I do with every series that I love, so get ready to hear me talk about it a lot. Also, if you're wondering, my favorite crow is Wylan. I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but I did. That is the last series and the last couple books that I read in November. I feel like I didn't read a lot, but the quality of the books I was reading, superb, so good, exquisite. We can all thank Leigh Bardugo. I'm also really excited to read Rule of Wolves and King of Scars. That's out of order, but you know, gonna get to those soon. Super excited about it. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know down below what your favorite book that you read in November was. I love hearing about what you guys are reading. It's so fun. So yeah, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.